Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the new boarding patrols. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. So the Arks of Omen have brought a couple of new boarding patrols in for the Adeptus Sororitas, Thousand Sons, and Adeptus Custodes. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those, composition, value. I'm going to guess on what I think the price will be, and then roughly the savings based on that. So let's take a look. The Arks of Omen have taken the galaxy by storm. Everyone seems to want one, and more factions are mustering boarding patrols to get into the latest craze going down in Segmentum Obscurus. This time around, there are boarding patrols coming from the Adeptus Sororitas, the Adeptus Custodes, and the Thousand Sons. Let's take a closer look. Alright, so first we have the Adeptus Sororitas, or Sisters of Battle boarding patrol. And in this one, we have 1 Canoness, 5 Sacresants, 9 Sisters Repentia with a Repentia Superior, and then 10 Battle Sisters, and that does include 1 Cherub as well. So if we total everything up, the Canoness is $40, the Sacresants are $60, the Repentia are $60, and that does include the Repentia Superior, and then also the Battle Sisters are $60 as well. So that comes out to $220 total. We had a couple of the other boarding patrols at this $220 price point, including the Chaos and the Necrons one, which actually just still hasn't shown up yet. But that was priced at the $130 price point after the increases. So theoretically, this is around the same total. So we could assume it's around the same for the MSRP of the box set when it does come out. So if that is the case and it comes out at about $130, with a total MSRP of the individual units of $220, that gives us a 41% savings, which is on the higher end of savings for Games Workshop. Typically, we're going to see more around like the mid-30s. So perhaps this will actually be a little more expensive, or maybe it's just a really good deal. So Battle Sisters are always nice to have. You get a bunch of options in there. Canoness, always nice leader as well. You're definitely going to want one of them all the time. The Sacresants are pretty strong now. They previously saw a little bit of a nerf when Armor of Contempt came into play because it took away the benefit because they have the shields. But now that Armor of Contempt is gone again, they have that invulnerable save plus the additional +1 to their save as well. So they are pretty strong now. And then of course the Repentia hit extremely hard. They are obviously a glass cannon, but they can dish out quite a bit of damage. Probably one of the higher dealers in the Battle Sisters army. So really nice to see these together. The Sacresants are always nice to see in a box. Repentia we almost never see in any of the box sets. And Canoness and Sisters of Battle are very important for the army. So I think composition-wise and value-wise, this is a really nice box. It's also a really good starting force if you were looking to start Warhammer 40k as well. You could then add in whatever kind of like vehicles or support you want. But right off the bat, I mean, you could toss this with the Combat Patrol and it would play really nicely. Or alternatively, you can mix it up with the Sisters Christmas Army box if you pick that up or have one of those available to you still. And this would mesh really nice with that also. So out of 5 stars, got to give this one 5. This thing is pretty much perfect. I can't imagine how it would have been better. Maybe if they did, instead of the Canoness, a different character, just because a lot of the box sets already come with the Canoness. But even then, I really like it. You may want multiple different equipment configurations for your Canoness, so it might be nice to have 2 of them as well. So conclusion on this one, I have to say, is a really nice box. I think this is going to be super popular. It is going to be a very good value, even if it is priced slightly higher than my estimate. But I would say this is a go for sure. All right, and then next we have the Boarding Patrol Adeptus Custodes. So this one's going to include Trajann Valorous, the special character, and then it comes with 3 of the Allarus Terminators, as well as 1 squad of 5 Custodian Guard. So Trajann Valorous alone is $45, and you almost always see him in every army, so obviously a nice choice there. The Allarus Terminators, you get 3 in the set. You have the ability to take these in smaller units in 40k. I'm not sure about in actual Combat Patrol how that works, but the kit itself allows you to build a Shield Captain, a Vexilla, and then also you can build all 3 guys regular. So you do have quite a bit of options with the Allarus set. And then for the guard themselves, again, you includes 5. You have swords and shields options for all of them. And then again, you can make one into a shield captain. You can also make one into a Vexilla as well. And the minimum squad size for these is 3. So you do have the ability to really move this around. So just having that one unit of Custodes allows you to take a min squad of 3, include a Vexilla, and then a shield captain as well. So you do have quite a bit of diversity with the Custodes kits, which is really nice. So $45 for Trajann, 60 for the Allarus, and 60 for the guard. Comes out to $165. So my estimate on this, we had a couple other close to this price as well, is $110. So at $110, the savings aren't the best. It would only be about 33%. But I think this is pretty typical for what you see with Custodes. They have a little less units. They tend to get a little less savings in the box sets. As far as composition, I think this is a nice starter for Custodes. It goes well also with not only the combat patrol. Fits really nicely in there. You're going to get some bikes. You're going to get 2 squads of the Sisters of Silence. And then you're going to get more of the Custodian Guard. So this would work really well with that setup. You can kind of like load up on Vexillas and Shield Captains and really fill out your points a lot quicker. And then for the Custodes Christmas box set, that thing sold out really, really quickly. But honestly, I think this would be a really nice pair up with that as well. It was just absolutely stacked. It did come with Trajann Valoris already, so there's definitely some redundancy in there. So this one's a little interesting when it comes to pairing it up with a combat patrol or the Christmas battle force. The battle force sold out really quickly and they're pretty rare, but there is quite a bit of redundancy. It includes a guard, it includes Trajann. So if you have that set, probably pass on this. But if you were looking at the combat patrol or already have the combat patrol, this set pairs up with it really nice. It's going to give you Trajann to lead your force, which is really good. It's going to give you 3 Terminators, which you don't have. And then it's going to give you 5 more guard. That are going to give you diversity to take things like Vexillas or another shield captain. The other set also includes more guard, which is pretty much what you want. Typically, you see about 9 or 10 of these in an army. And then the Sisters are super cheap choices. They can be taken as troops. You can take them as melee. You can equip them with flamers. They have like 3 different battlefield roles and equipment options as well. So they're nice to have. You could also take like 9 of them and then turn 1 into a character. Again, some of the benefits of the Custodes multiple kits. And then of course it's going to have some bikes as well. So I think overall this is a really nice set. It doesn't go great with the Christmas box set, but it really goes well with the combat patrol. So for this one, overall composition, there's really not a lot to it. It's pretty minimum on the actual units and everything. And the range isn't that great either. So you don't have a ton of choices. So given what you have in the actual plastic range and what is allowed in boarding actions, I have to say this is a nice set as well. I'll give this one like 4.5 stars. Real nice composition and everything. Definitely some options, but rather limited because it is just really 3 kits put together and the savings aren't the best. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now back to the video. Alright, so last but not least, we have the Boarding Patrol Thousand Suns. So this one is interesting. So it includes a 10-man squad of Rubrics, another 10-man squad of Rubrics, and then a squad of 2 Chaos Spawn. Now, only 1 Chaos Spawn is pictured here, and I know what you're thinking. There's no HQ. That seems strange also. Technically, for Boarding Patrol, you don't need an HQ. Probably if you're playing Thousand Suns, if you have any other models, you probably already have an HQ. That being said, they do have psychic powers built into their squads. They do have some pretty hard-hitting weaponry, and they're super durable. So I don't necessarily think it's terrible without an HQ, but it's an interesting choice. We saw that previously with the Necron box set, which still is lost in the warp. And now we see it with this one. So interesting decision. It is technically a legal force in boarding actions, but I wouldn't really recommend leaving home the HQ because they bring so much hard-hitting power to the game and they're so cool and have so much synergy. You would be basically really limiting yourself, not taking your strongest model. So that being said, it is really nice to see 2 units of Rubrics in the set. We have seen in the past that for whatever reason, it seems like there's never enough Rubrics in Games Workshop's box sets. So looking at this one, it's $60 for each of the squads of Rubrics and $55 for the 2 spawn. I'm not sure why only one is pictured, but it does come out to $175 total. The estimate on this one I put at $115, and that is 34% savings, right in line with what Games Workshop normally offers. Also, we've seen some of the other boarding patrol box sets at about $175, and they were $115. So I think that's pretty reasonable to assume. We'll see. I'm sure a couple of these guesses will be off a few dollars, and that's going to obviously mess with the estimated savings percent slightly. As far as the actual composition on this, I do like that it has multiple squads of Rubric Marines in it. It's nice to see 20 in a set because it seems like they always kind of limit you. For instance, the Combat Patrol is really nice, but it comes with Zangors and then it comes with Scarab Occult Terminators. It does not include any Rubrics. So this would actually pair up really nice with that set because it includes your character, it includes your Terminators, it includes your Cheap Chaffs, Zangors, and now you have a bunch of Rubrics to go along with it. So that's definitely cool. As far as the Christmas Battle Force box set, I think this goes really nice with it as well. It's basically just whatever your current army is. You know, the spawn are kind of meh, but realistically, are you after 20 more Rubrics or not? Because that's basically what this box set is. If it comes out at 115 or 120, that's basically the cost of the 2 Rubrics, and then the spawn are free. Spawn aren't necessarily bad or anything. You can take them in units of 1 for 25 points. So it's nice to just have a 25-point piece that you can move around the board. You can get some other bonuses, buffs, etc. with them. So they're nice to have. I think the real question on this box set, and if you want to buy it, is basically, do you need 20 more Rubric Marines? So in most cases, I would say yes, it's a nice setup. There's a lot of different ways that you can play Thousand Sons right now. The Rubrics are nice because each squad includes a sorcerer leading the squad. They also have some nice equipment options also. So I think Rubrics are pretty nice. They're an integral part of the Thousand Sons forces. They have some cool abilities in actual 40k and then also in your boarding actions as well. So I have to say this is a nice set. It's definitely not going to like blow anybody out of the water with how amazing it is because there's just not that much to it. 2 squads of Rubrics. Do you need them or not? 2 Chaos Spawn. Do you need them or not? Savings wise, not bad. Pretty average. Composition wise, not bad. Pretty average. I have to give this one like a 3. And honestly, it would score lower if it was pretty much any other faction. But just in general, Games Workshop has been a little stingy with Rubric Marines in box sets or like offered at a discount. So anytime we do get a little discount on Rubric Marines, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Not a bad box set. Definitely a nice way to expand your force. But realistically, I would rather have seen 10 Rubrics, 5 Scarab Occult Terminators, and then the spawn, or maybe get rid of the spawn altogether and put a character in the set. I think it would have been a really nice set if it was a character, Scarab Occult Terminators, and 10 Rubrics. I'm not sure exactly what Games Workshop has decided as far as like composition of these combat patrols. They all appear to be legal forces. They all appear to meet the minimum requirements of 500 points. Aside from that, they've been kind of all over the place. It seems like a lot of them were built more to get rid of like 2 of the same unit, as in like getting stock sold, rather than actual composition for your forces. Because I think in general, when people are building an army, redundancy is nice in larger games, but in a small game, most of the time you want to have like a few different units, especially if you're just trying out a new game or just playing with a new force. You got to see what you like, what you enjoy, what kits are cool, what performs well in game terms. And if you just get 20 Rubric Marines and 2 Chaos Spawn, you basically are like, oh, let me see, how did I like my Rubric Marines? Oh, how well did the Chaos Spawn do? And then that's it. I would rather see a little more diversity in these box sets. But again, I think for the most part, I think we can say with at least some confidence that most of these boxes were not designed to be like the best force or the coolest force or to get a nice little variety of units from a force. I think most of the box sets were designed to basically let Games Workshop put 2 kits that aren't selling particularly well or they have a lot of in a box, bundle it up, and then move it out of the warehouse. So overall, I would have to say the Thousand Sons box set is nice. I think the fact that it has 20 Rubric Marines in it makes it a little better than it would be if it was any other faction, just because we don't often see them in these box sets. The Custodes box doesn't really have a ton here. It's hard to kind of critique because there's not a lot of options without taking like either Forge World or a bunch of vehicles, which obviously you can't in boarding actions. limits you pretty well here. So overall, I think it's a nice set. Trajann is really nice to have. He is definitely a beat stick, and then it's cool to have a couple different units to go with it. And of these, I think the Sicarians Force is probably my favorite, just because all the units in the set are really nice. It is loaded up, it's a good value, and it would play well on the table in 40k or boarding patrol. All these kits synergize pretty well with the combat patrols, which is a really strong selling point for me also. Because in all reality, if you bought the combat patrol with or without a discount, and then you're able to buy one of these boarding patrols as well, in most cases, you're going to have like 1,000 to 1,500 points. And with the way Games Workshop has designed these sets, there's not like a crazy amount of redundancy. So you're not going to be leaving a bunch of your pieces home because you just have too many of the same thing. I really like that. I really like that these have been set up to be taken, boarding patrols and combat patrols together, to build a much larger force. So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think down below. Always like to hear back from you guys. Which of these boarding patrols are you the most excited about? Which one are you the most worried about? Like, whatever happened to the Necrons? And also, I think the Grey Knights one is missing as well. Are the two of them just battling somewhere in the warp and eventually they'll emerge? Honestly, don't know. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check them out to save 15%. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I like all these boarding patrols. I just like options in general, especially when things are a good deal. And I'm out of here.